I'm Captain Emily Harris. I serve in the United States Air Force. My official job title involves strategic logistics and crisis coordination. To my colleagues at the Pentagon, I am a problem solver. I am the person who moves assets across borders when the airspace is closed. I am the person who negotiates with foreign air traffic controllers at 3 a.m. to get a medical evac flight into a hostile zone. But if you asked my father, I'm just a clerk who wears a uniform. He spent 20 years in the motor pool before retiring as a master sergeant. Somehow, that made him the ultimate authority on what real military service looks like. To him, real meant grease under your fingernails, fixing diesel engines, and shouting over the sound of a generator. Sitting at a briefing table? Negotiating treaties? Managing satellite comms? That was admin work in his eyes. Secretarial stuff. The Air Force Country Club, he liked to call it. He never said it outright. He didn't have to. It was in the way he introduced me to his friends with a shrug. It was in the way he always asked if I was still doing that typing job, even after I got promoted to captain. Once, when I told him about a deployment to Germany to oversee a NATO joint task force, he rolled his eyes and said, "Sounds like a vacation with paperwork. Make sure you try the beer." I used to laugh it off. I'd smile and let him talk, knowing there were things I couldn't say anyway. There's no way to explain what you do when you're bound by top secret, sensitive compartmented information, TSSCI, clearance levels. So instead, I let him believe what he wanted. It was easier that way. But inside, I knew he never saw me. Not the way he saw my brother. Evan is a tech sergeant in field maintenance. He fixes cargo trucks. It's an honorable job. It's hard work. It is exactly the kind of job my dad understands. Wrenches, oil, sweat. When Evan got his first commendation for fixing a transmission in the field, Dad printed it out, framed it, and hung it in the hallway. When I received the Defense Meritorious Service Medal for coordinating the safe extraction of 22 Americans from a collapsing embassy in North Africa, I wasn't even allowed to tell him why I missed Christmas dinner. I just told him I had inventory to finish. He told me I needed to get my priorities straight. The worst part isn't the pride he never showed. It's the fact that I stopped expecting it. I adjusted. I found other people who valued what I brought to the table: generals, diplomats, special operators. But deep down, a part of me still wanted him to know. Just once, I wanted to see him look at me with the same respect he gave strangers in uniform at the airport. That moment finally came, but not the way I expected, and definitely not where I expected. Because the day he saw me clearly for the first time was the day the sky fell. It was just past 1900 hours on a Thursday when my secure terminal lit up. I was in the command center at Joint Base Andrews. The comms officer brought me the file with that look on his face, the one we all get when something's gone wrong far from home. "Captain," he said, "State Department just flashed a critic message. We have a situation in the Horn of Africa." Within minutes, I was reviewing satellite images, skimming through intercepted chatter, and building an action plan. A small, undisclosed diplomatic outpost had lost contact with D.C. There were reports of militia movements, escalating tensions, and a confirmed breach of the outer perimeter. It wasn't on the news yet. It might never be. But there were 4 American intelligence officers inside that compound, and if this tipped into active hostility, I'd be the one authorizing the airspace for the extraction. I was the air battle manager for the sector. I controlled the sky. That meant rerouting commercial traffic, clearing a corridor for fighter jets, and positioning a tanker for mid-air refueling. It meant coordinating with the Navy offshore and the Special Forces team on the ground. I was mid-call with Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC, When my personal cell buzzed, I glanced at it. Dad. I knew I shouldn't pick up. Every instinct said, let it go to voicemail. I was managing a potential international incident, but something told me it'd be worse if I didn't. He called when he wanted something, and if I ignored him, he'd call the base switchboard. He'd done it before. I muted the briefing. I picked up. I tried to sound like I wasn't coordinating a crisis. Hello? He didn't waste time with a greeting. Emily, your brother's promotion ceremony is tomorrow. The barbecue is at the VFW hall. We're doing it big. Even the mayor's showing up. You're not bailing again, are you? I closed my eyes. I rubbed my temples. I could already feel the storm coming. Dad, I'm on shift, I said. Something urgent has come up. I don't know if I can make the drive. He cut me off. Jesus, Emily, it's always some crisis with you. What is it this time? A printer jam? A missing spreadsheet? I looked back at the screen. A red icon blinked on the map. Hostiles inbound. It's not a spreadsheet, Dad. It's work. Your brother is being recognized for actual field work, he snapped. Real work. He got his hands dirty. This matters to him. Can't you make time for family for once? I wanted to scream. I wanted to say, do you know what I'm doing right now? Do you have any idea that I am currently positioning a B-52 Stratofortress to provide a show of force so that 20 men with AK-47s don't storm a consulate? But I didn't. I couldn't. I'll try, Dad, I said. I'll try to get away. Do better than try, he said. And try to look presentable. Wear your dress uniform, but don't look stiff. No fatigue this time. We want nice pictures. I ended the call without saying goodbye. I unmuted the briefing. My commanding officer, a colonel, was looking at me. Everything okay, Captain? Personal issue resolved, sir, I said, my voice steady. I have the tanker on station. We are green light for the extraction package. The colonel nodded. Good work, Harris. You're the only one who knows the air corridors in that sector. We need you on this. I didn't miss a beat. Because this is what I do. I hold lives in my hands, quietly, while my father worries about a buffet line. That night, after the mission plan was executed and the Americans were safe, I sat alone in my quarters. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just felt tired. A bone-deep exhaustion that comes from carrying a weight no one else can see. I had saved 4 lives that night. I had prevented a hostage crisis. And all I could think about was that tomorrow I'd be driving 3 hours to applaud my brother for fixing a truck, while the man who raised me treated me like a disappointment. It's not that I wanted applause. I just wanted to be seen. Not as Evan's sister. Not as someone who couldn't make time for family. But as who I was. A soldier, a strategist, an officer who commands the sky. I slept for 3 hours. Then I put on my uniform. I got in my car. And I drove to the ceremony. My dad picked me up at the hotel near the event site in his old Army-issue Jeep. He insisted on driving us to the VFW hall. It was the Jeep he kept polished like a trophy. The tires squeaked, and the radio was blasting classic rock. I sat in the passenger seat. My uniform was pressed. My hair was in a regulation bun. My secure tablet was in my bag at my feet, buzzing silently with mission updates. Evan just hit 500 logged maintenance hours, Dad said, before we even left the parking lot. Can you believe that? Kid's a machine. The base commander is thinking of recommending him for lead technician training. I nodded, keeping my eyes on the windshield. That's great, Dad. He didn't ask how I'd been. He didn't ask about the dark circles under my eyes. We merged onto the highway. You know, he said, when I was your brother's age, I was already managing engine teams. There's something about hands-on work. It builds character. None of that computer stuff you do. You can't fix the world with a keyboard, Emily. My secure line buzzed again. I glanced down. MSG. Asset recovery incomplete. Secondary extraction required. Pilot requesting ABM Harris. I typed a silent response under my coat, hoping the angle blocked his view. On standby. Send coordinates. I wanted to laugh. You can't fix the world with a keyboard. I had just authorized a drone strike with a keyboard that disabled a mortar team pinning down our allies. That's true, Dad, I said. Mechanics are vital. He grinned, satisfied that I had validated his worldview. Exactly. Maybe one day you'll transfer. Get into something tangible. We pulled up to the VFW hall. It was a dusty field next to a small building. Flags were waving. A small crowd had gathered. I stepped out of the Jeep. The heat hit me. I adjusted my earpiece. It looked like a Bluetooth device, but it was wired to the National Military Command Center. Radio check, I whispered. Loud and clear, Captain, the voice in my ear said. We have a situation developing. We might need you back at base. I'm 2 hours out, I whispered back. I can't make it. Stand by, Captain. We're escalating. My father looked over and laughed. Always on that phone. Talking to your boyfriend? Or just playing games? I turned to the window. I didn't blink. Just checking the weather, Dad. The ceremony was standard. Dedication speeches. The mayor spoke about the community. Evan stood on the stage, looking proud. Dad was in the front row, filming with his phone, beaming. I stood in the back, near the edge of the field. My device buzzed hard against my thigh. Flash override. I pulled it out. Urgent. Critical intel failure in Sector 4. Airspace lockdown. Required immediately. You are the only ABM with the key codes. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a drill. If I didn't get to a terminal, planes were going to crash, or worse, get shot down. I tapped the screen. I am remote. No secure terminal available. The reply came instantly. Stand by for extraction. We are coming to you. I looked up at the sky. It was clear blue. Extraction? I typed. I'm at a barbecue. Asset inbound. ETA-2 mics. 2 minutes. I looked at my dad. He was clapping for Evan. He looked so happy. I walked a few paces away from the crowd toward the open field behind the VFW hall. Emily, Dad shouted, turning around. Where are you going? They're about to give him the plaque. Get back here. I stopped. I turned to him. I have to work, Dad, I said. Work? He stormed over, his face red. You are embarrassing me. Put the phone away and stand with your family. I can't, I said. It's a Saturday, he yelled. What could be so important at a desk job that you have to miss your brother's moment? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Because the ground started to shake. It started as a thump, a rhythmic, heavy beating against the air that vibrated in your chest. Thwup, 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 thwup. The crowd stopped clapping. People looked around, confused. Thunder? Someone asked. No, I said softly. Rotors. The sound grew louder. A deep, mechanical roar that swallowed the noise of the traffic, the music, the voices. Then the wind hit. It wasn't a breeze. It was a gale-force wind that whipped hats off heads and knocked over the folding chairs. The banner reading, "Congratulations, Evan," tore loose from one side and flapped violently. People screamed. My dad stumbled back, shielding his eyes from the dust kicking up. "What the hell is that?" he shouted. And then it crested the tree line. It wasn't a news helicopter. It wasn't a medevac. It was a CV-22 Osprey, a massive tilt-rotor aircraft used by Air Force Special Operations. It was dark gray, menacing, and loud enough to wake the dead. Its massive props were tilted upward, transitioning from flight to hover. It hung over the VFW field like a dragon. The downdraft flattened the grass. The crowd panicked. People were running toward the building. My father grabbed my arm. "Emily, run! It's crashing!" I pulled my arm free. I didn't run. I planted my feet. "It's not crashing," I said. The Osprey descended. It touched down in the middle of the field, 50 yards from the barbecue. The landing gear compressed. The engines whined, keeping the rotors spinning. The rear ramp lowered. 4 men ran down the ramp. They weren't pilots. They were pararescue men, PJs. Full combat gear, helmets, body armor, rifles slung across their chests. They moved with a speed and violence of action that terrified the civilians. They fanned out, securing a perimeter around the aircraft. The team leader spotted me. He sprinted toward me, ignoring everyone else, ignoring the mayor, ignoring the police officer who had pulled his gun but was too scared to use it, ignoring my father. The operator stopped 3 feet from me. He didn't salute. This wasn't ceremonial. This was tactical. He had to shout to be heard over the engines. "Captain Harris!" "I'm here," I shouted back. "White House authorization," the operator yelled. "We have a code red situation. We need your encryption keys now. We are wheels up in 2 mics." My father stood frozen next to me. His mouth was open. He looked at the massive aircraft, the armed men, and then at his daughter. "Emily?" he screamed over the noise. "Who are these people? What did you do?" I looked at him. I adjusted my jacket. I tightened my bun. "I told you, Dad," I said, my voice calm even though I had to shout. "I have a typing job." I turned to the operator. "Let's go." "Move! Move! Move!" the operator barked. He flanked me. Another operator took my bag. They formed a protective diamond around me, and we ran toward the aircraft. I didn't look back. I ran up the ramp of the Osprey. Inside, it was dark and smelled of hydraulic fluid and jet fuel. A mobile command station was already set up. A colonel was waiting for me, holding a headset. "Captain," the colonel said, "thank God. Plug in. We have 3 fighter jets waiting for your vector." I sat down. I put on the headset. I plugged my tablet into the mainframe. "I have control," I said. The ramp closed. The Osprey surged upward, leaving the Earth behind. We were airborne in seconds. The G-force pressed me into the seat. I looked at the screen. The crisis was unfolding. I had work to do. I spent the next 3 hours in the air, circling at 15,000 feet, coordinating an airstrike and a rescue mission halfway across the world. I spoke to generals. I spoke to pilots. I saved lives. When we finally landed back at Joint Base Andrews, it was night. I walked off the Osprey, exhausted. I checked my personal phone. There were 10 missed calls from Mom, 5 from Evan, and 1 voicemail from Dad. I stood on the tarmac, the wind cooling my face. I pressed play. I expected anger. I expected him to ask why I ruined the party, why I made a scene. Instead, his voice was shaking. It was a sound I had never heard before. Fear. And something else. Shame. "Emily. It's Dad. We're still at the hall. The police came. They said that was a special ops bird." There was a long pause. I could hear him breathing unsteadily. "That man, the one with the gun, he took orders from you. He called you captain. I thought you just worked in an office." His voice cracked. "I don't know what you do, Emmy. I realize now. I never asked. I just assumed. And today, God, you looked like you belonged on that thing. You looked like you owned it." Another pause. "I'm sorry. I think I've been very wrong. Please call me. Just Let me know you're safe. I lowered the phone. I didn't call him back. Not yet. I looked out at the flight line. The jets were sleeping. The mission was done. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't disappointed. I realized I didn't need him to frame my commendations. I didn't need him to understand the acronyms. He had seen me. Finally. He saw that I didn't just wear the uniform. I commanded it. I deleted the voicemail. I walked toward my car. I had a briefing in the morning, and for the first time, I knew that when I walked into that room, I wasn't leaving anyone behind. I was just moving forward. I am Captain Emily Harris, and I am exactly who I said I was.